Good evening, gentle viewer, and welcome back to Newsfist. Tonight, we have more news, more criticism, more examination of the general fuckery coming from the World Economic Forum, UN Nexus, and their horrible, horrible plans for everybody's future. We start tonight with My Carbon. Such a beautiful, beautiful way. You know, genocide always such an ugly word. You really want to figure out sort of, nicer ways to soften the blow. You don't want to scare the sheep. They might start rustling about, charging the gates and trying to escape their inevitable fate instead of waiting docilely like the good cattle that they are. I mean citizens. I mean excess carbon. I mean valued members of our democracy. Yes, the World Economic Forum, I don't know, man, people say that, that they're a conspiracy theory, but honestly, just go on their website, just follow their stuff. Every week is a new horror. They are truly the man-made political horrors beyond comprehension.
Sweet. Man-made horrors beyond my comprehension.
As you can see, of course, they have a lovely website design, this beautiful picture looking all futuristic of a road which has no bloody cars on it. So, of course, that's actually very, very appropriate. So, while transport and buildings are major drivers for emissions in cities, the share of individual emissions is significant. Personal carbon allowances programs had limited success due to lack of awareness and fair mechanisms for tracking emissions. Very concerned about that, obviously. Yet, there have been major developments in recent years that could help realize My Carbon initiatives. So it's our democracy and my carbon, I guess. This is the way all the messaging is going to be done now. If it's something that they want you to take collective responsibility for, it's our thing. If it's something they want you to take individual responsibility for, it's my thing. Cities across the world account for almost 75% of our total carbon emissions. As countries move towards implementing their pledges for a net zero future, urban areas will remain the action ground for decades to come. Great. While transport and buildings are the major drivers for emissions in cities, the share of individual emissions are significant at around 40%. I see where this is going. Inclusivity of citizens is becoming the most important element of success or failure in the journey towards sustainability. Sustainability. We are all journeying towards the utopia of sustainability, ladies and gentlemen. Community-led initiatives can make a significant contribution towards sustainability, increase resilience and social cohesion. Really? Okay. I would have thought everyone running out of energy and starving is going to have a massive negative impact on social cohesion, but what do I know? I don't even have a social sciences degree, do I? There have been numerous examples of personal carbon allowance programs in discussions for the last 2 decades. God, they've been working on this shit for ages. However, they had limited success due to a lack of social acceptance, political resistance, and a lack of awareness and a fair mechanism for tracking my carbon emissions. So, after decades of sort of psychological warfare and opinion shaping against the global population, we're finally moving forward. And I will go into details of how they have been moving this forward in a little bit. Our world is transforming. Big community trends for sustainable cities. There have been significant developments in the last 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years. So about 2015, that's when it all started going crazy, wasn't it? On social, environmental, and technology fronts that could help realize My Carbon initiatives for shaping the future towards smart and sustainable cities. Specifically to mention 3 developments in this context. And here's where it starts getting even more sinister. 1. COVID-19 was the test of social responsibility. A huge number of unimaginable restrictions for public health were adopted by billions of citizens across the world. There were numerous examples globally of maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, mass vaccinations, and acceptance of contact tracing applications for public health, which demonstrated the core of individual social responsibility. So COVID-19 was a test to see how much bullshit they could get away with. Okay? That's always good to know. I mean, at least they're being honest about it now. 2. Fourth industrial revolution technology breakthroughs. Advances in emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, and digitization can enable tracking personal carbon emissions, raise awareness, and also provide individual advisories on lower carbon and ethical choices for consumption of products and services. Oh, great. Oh, that just sounds awesome. The World Economic Forum's Scale 360 initiative demonstrates the use of fourth industrial revolution technologies across the whole life cycle. The World Economic Forum's Scale 360 initiative demonstrates the use of fourth industrial revolution technologies across the whole life cycle of products and services. There have been major advances in smart home technologies, transport choices with carbon implications, the rollout of smart meters in providing individual choices to reduce their energy-related emissions, the development of new personalized apps to account for personal emissions, and better personal choices for food and consumption-related emissions. AI can also help strengthen circular economy business models like product-as-a-service models, demand predictions, and smart asset management by combining real-time and historical data from products and users. Now, I just want to highlight this. This little paragraph here. When they are talking circular economy business models, right, like products as a service, this is the whole you will own nothing and be happy. You will basically rent everything you need. Everything. Demand prediction is a feature of a centralized economy, a command economy, a USSR style economy. You don't let the market decide what people want to buy and sell. Oh, no. You control it centrally, and the way you do this is by using algorithms to predict demand. When I've been saying this for a while, and I really 100% believe it is true. These guys are going to try for basically USSR style command economy communism again, except this time they think it's going to work because they have AI. Because these people do not understand human nature, or perhaps they do, and they're just planning on gulagging everyone who won't go along with their plan. Smart asset management. I imagine that basically means telling you what you can do with your stuff. So you won't, if you own nothing, if everything you have is rented, you will no longer have any real property rights. It won't be your house, you're renting it. It won't be your furniture, you're renting it. It won't be your phone, you're renting it. So you'll have to sign a terms of service for everything you own that will give you serious limits on what you're allowed to do with that thing. Combining real-time and historical data from products and users, again, command economy. There is a significant number of programs and applications enabling citizens to contribute towards carbon emissions by providing them in-depth awareness on the choices of personal carbon for food, transport, home energy, and lifestyle choices. So this is just basically gamification of a way to change behavior towards what you want. These energy efficiency apps give suggestions and statistics regarding greenhouse emissions and offer ways to reduce your personal footprint. Keeping track of energy consumption in the home and motivating people to make lifestyle changes and to contribute your share towards the betterment of the environment. Don't you want to better the environment? You're not some kind of evil person, are you? You wouldn't want to be, socially shamed by your peers, lose your social credit score, be kicked out of employment, have higher interest rates, be denied a place in the food line. Everyone's eating the bugs and you won't even get any because you're a bad person because you don't care about the environment. Don't worry. The food at the gulag, although not very nutritious, is at least free.
The gulag.
You will have to do back-breaking labor for 10 hours a day, moving rocks back and forward, or I don't know. what would they have people do in the gulag these days? Would they just have them break rocks? Or would they have them, I don't know, just do some other like make work? I mean, surely the machines are going to be doing everything. I think it's probably best that, you know, they just work people until they die, or possibly just liquidate them. Or, look, hear me out. How's this for a great idea for a sustainable and circular product, right? You get people, right? You inject them all with like the Neuralink, and then you plug all their brains in to, you know, to a supercomputer and use those brains as part of the predictive economic AI. Now, the people may die, right? I mean, maybe about 10% of the people will die on implantation, and the, you know, rest of them will, you know, surely wither addicted to their AI stimulus, right? But it will be perfectly circular, right? After those people die, they can then be ground up into, you know, some kind of soylent substance and introduced back into the food supply in a perfect harmony of circular economy. Might sound crazy, but look, you just have to reimagine what you think of as a worthy life, right? You think that a worthy life is about having property, having family, all these kinds of, you need to start reimagining, and you better reimagine soon because it's about to bloody happen. 3, raised awareness and ownership for nature and environment. Except, of course, you don't own the nature, do you? Bill Gates owns all the nature. You own jack shit, right? This is the crucial idea. It's about convincing people to act as though they own something without actually giving them any ownership of it. So you have all of the responsibilities and none of the advantages. You know, you have ownership of nature. You can't go out into the nature. You can't farm the nature. You can't hunt in the nature. But you still have a responsibility to it. No, the elites, they just love that. You know what I mean, right? This is one of the reasons why they love collectivism, because they can make people think that they own a thing and they have to be responsible for a thing while actually not giving them any ownership of the thing at all. It's very, very comfy. In the last few years, there is an increased awareness and public concern on climate change, and specifically among youth. The UNDP's People's Climate Vote reflects that over 64% of people believe climate change is a global emergency. A new Pew Research Center survey in 17 advanced economies found widespread concern about the personal impact of global climate change. 80% of citizens say they are willing to change how they live and work to combat the effects of climate change. Young adults, who have been at the forefront of some of the most prominent climate change protests in recent years, are more concerned than their older counterparts about the personal impact of a warming planet in many public surveys. Now, this is the bit that I want to focus on. Now, if you've ever been to university and you've ever had the misfortune of having to write something like this, this is exactly the kind of thing that you would quote in an essay if you wanted to please your lefty teacher, and you wouldn't look too closely into it. So let's look closely into it, shall we? The People's Climate Vote. The people. Look, the people voted for the climate. 62% of people all over the world agree that it's a concern. Therefore, we have a mandate to introduce global tyranny. Come on, it's only fair. If 62% of people think that there's like a problem that demands global tyranny in order to fix it, it's only fair that we do the thing. So let's have a look at the People's Climate Vote, shall we? So this is the People's Climate Vote from Oxford. In February 2020, the United Nations Development Programme and partners, including the University of Oxford, and a number of non-governmental organisations, they don't say which ones, I'm sure they're perfectly above board though, right? Launched the Mission 1.5 campaign. It's a mission. It's 1.5. To educate people about climate change solutions and ask their opinions on the priority actions that government should take to address the crisis. Now, the way they did this is bloody creepy, right? Basically, right, they made an online game and then they stuck a bunch of surveys in mobile gaming apps, right? And by sort of skewing it obviously towards a younger audience, right? Because mobile games are primarily played by younger audiences. They managed to get a massive pool of people who they knew would likely agree to their ideas. The campaign has 3 pillars: an online game, Mission 1.5, a learning website, Mission 1.5 in action, and the People's Climate Vote, the largest survey of public opinion regarding climate change ever conducted. Oh, sounds impressive, right? The 3 parts were designed to work together to provide people with an engaging and unconventional way to learn about climate action, to access materials explaining why different climate policies work, and to vote for the ones they want enacted in their country. So this is quite a detailed document. I could probably do an entire video just on this. They looked at 50 different countries in Africa, Arab states, Asia, Pacific, Eastern Europe, Central Asia, all over the world, basically. A mix of big and small countries, all this kind of like stuff. And do you want to see the way it was conducted? Do you want to see the online game? I know you do. Mission 1.5. Ah, look at that beautiful Globo Homo artwork. Doesn't it just fill your soul with pride? You're on a mission. It's 1.5. Honestly, it looks like a crappy video game. Because it is a crappy video game. Using mobile gaming technology, Mission 1.5 educates people about climate solutions and asks them to vote on the actions they want to see happen. Now, I happen to have a copy right here. Mission 1.5. Now, this thing is just the most brilliant example of not only propaganda, but how to manufacture a consensus, right? By giving people a range of choices, none of which like actually relate seriously to the thing that you're asking about. I'll show you what I mean. Down the bottom, it says breaking news. You are in charge of tackling global warming. So you are the global dictator, presumably, right? Like, okay, you are Klaus Schwab. Play to keep the temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Then cast your vote to tell real-world leaders what matters most to you. Okay, so there's a little thing you've got to click on. Check it out. Over the past decade, more than 1.5 billion people have been affected by disasters. What will you do? It's a bad thing. What are you going to do about the bad thing? Install more early warning systems for disasters? Train people in first aid? Or reduce aid to vulnerable communities? So this is very, very clearly the way that this is done. You have the good option. Sorry, you have the good option, the slightly good option, and the bad option, right? So one of the 3 options is always the thing that will make it worse. Okay, so let's reduce aid to vulnerable communities, shall we? Just to be dicks. You get only 10 points. If we'd picked a good one, you would have gotten 700 points. People's homes and businesses will be destroyed by climate impacts. How will you help them? Provide good and affordable insurance? Provide internet access? Or refuse to insure them? So, basically, do you want government intervention? Do you want government intervention? Or do you want no government intervention and you're a heartless bastard? Let's provide good and affordable insurance. Let's just nationalize the entire insurance market, shall we? I love the way that these things are presented so incredibly simply, right? And it should be noted that a lot of the people they marketed this to are in countries with, let's say, not exactly stellar average IQs either. See, I got 1,000 points for doing the current thing. Oh, wow, I feel so validated. Slow onset events like sea level rise can devastate communities. What will you do? Build more nuclear power stations. Oh, is that not one of the choices? Why don't they ever listen to me? This is what I want to know. I don't feel included, right? I mean, I know that up there in the top of the thing, right? There's like a brown woman in front of the UN Sustainable Development Goals rainbow fucking pyramid thing, but I don't I don't feel included. I don't feel like my voice is being heard. And I'm sure that the UN is working tirelessly to make sure that myself and people like me feel included in their next project. So, teach communities about climate impacts. Construct buildings on coastlines only. Build infrastructure to protect lives and livelihoods. Well, I mean, let's build some seawalls, shall we? Ooh, 1,000. Now, once you've played 3 rounds of this game, right, you get to a multiple choice question, right, which is the vote that you cast. This is the Mickey Mouse thing that they used, right, to support their assertion that 65% of people believe that climate change is like a massive catastrophe and they have to do something now. This is the most Mickey Mouse crap I have ever goddamn seen. I mean, of course, it is the UN and the Oxford University Sociology Department, so, I mean, you know, we can't really expect too much. So this, again, is just the last question that we did. Install more early warning systems, provide good and affordable assurance, build infrastructure. So these are all of the... I believe these are all the things that you chose. No, these are all the good outcomes from the 3 questions you already asked. Build infrastructure and conserve nature. Okay, so they changed that. Let's pick none of the above, shall we? Cast our vote. Ooh, the UN's going to pay attention to what I'm saying. I feel so... I'm nervous. I'm about to influence UN policy with a click of my button. Oh my God! What if they listen? I bet an email's gonna pop up on fucking Lord Gutierrez's desk, the UN secretary. He's gonna be like, user 5575 has cast his vote. Oh wow! I'll finally be seen. I'll finally be included. You ready, ladies and gentlemen? Cast my vote. Oh, look, it went into like a little box with a globe on it. Oh, and the thermometer like goes up. Oh my God. Honestly, this is the most Mickey Mouse shit, right? Like ever. And if you dig further into the actual Oxford document, which I might do for another episode, you'd have to be a bit of an autist tard like myself to find that interesting. But it is quite interesting, like what they come up with. It's just that the way the questions are framed are entirely stupid, obviously. It's never said, how much of the thing is going to impact your life. It's just very, very surface level kind of stuff. It's basically all a variation of the, do you want the planet to die? You don't want the planet to die, do you? You're not a bad person, They never go into any detail about, what parts of your life have to change. So, for example, they're very big on trumpeting that, something like, 65% of people would be willing to, make some changes to their lives. But they never say what those changes are. You know what I mean, right? Like, they're very, very, very vague about that. And vague questions in surveys are a big no-no. Oxford University, you should fucking know better. You really, really should. I didn't even take sociology, and I know this stuff. These questions are too vague. The population that you are surveying is too diverse, and this is a very, very complex thing, and you are essentially asking a whole bunch of people who don't know anything about climate change. They don't know anything about the science. They don't know anything about the impacts. They don't know anything about what it's likely to do to them, the measures that you're proposing. But I'm pretty sure that they know this, and I'm pretty sure Oxford University got a pass because it's being fitted to a specific agenda. Anyway, if you would like to see me dig more into the Oxford University survey, please comment down below. Like this video, share. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. All that kind of stuff. Send us some library coins. We'll be back in a few days. Good night.